Hey, folks, this is Myron from the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast. Today, I am joined by Harlow O'Hara. How are you doing today?
I am doing fabulous. How are you?
Wonderful. Harlow is a up-and-coming wrestler here in Georgia, and I'll go all over the world, actually, now, and currently the Anarchy Women's Champion. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anarchy seems like a great place to be working right now.
It is.
Wonderful.
I have no complaints. I absolutely love it there.
Cool. No, so we met you through a friend of ours, Terry Lawler.
Yes, Terry, the rocker.
Yes. Such a nice guy.
He's great.
How did you wind up meeting him?
He's wonderful. Actually, he was my first tag partner. And in my first my debut match. So that's how I ended up meeting him. So through my trainer, Robert Gibson, he has his
big name.
He has his APCW show that he holds every month. Mm-hmm. He finally decided I was ready to get me in an intergender tag team. And Terry was my partner that he trusted to be in the ring with me. So that's how I met him.
He's a real pro. So you trained with Robert Gibson at his school. I've been to his school. It seemed like a wonderful place. What was your experiences there?
It is a wonderful place, and I still am there constantly. A great place to train. Robert is obviously Robert Gibson. He knows what he's doing. I'm in the best place. I was in the best place when I first started training, and right now I still train every week, and I'm in the best place I can be. And he's tough, but he has to be, and I wouldn't have it any other way. I don't think I would be performing the way I am this early in my career if he wasn't the way he is. So it's great. I highly recommend it if you're looking for somewhere to train or somewhere to elevate your skill. Definitely, Robert's the guy to go to.
I was, one, just meeting him was impressive. He's a WWE Hall of Famer. But just his presence is it's not intimidating in a bad way. It's like being with your grandfather.
Yeah.
At what your grandfather does for a living,
Exactly. Yeah. No, I call him like my dad all the time because he actually has like a daughter who is my age, and it's literally my dad, but it's not a bad thing. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. It's just so impressive.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's great. He has taught me everything I know. So I totally know that vibe that you felt though, because I still feel it sometimes when I'm around him. So I get it.
Awe. Yeah, just in awe of this guy. How did you wind up there?
I contacted one of my friends. I've actually known Trevor Eon for I've known him for probably about 10 years. I love
Trevor. Absolutely love him.
He's great. Yeah, I've known him for like about 10 years before he even started wrestling. And when I decided that I wanted to wrestle, I contacted him and I was like, "What should I do?" Because I have no idea where to start. And he gave me some options, but he recommended Robert, especially starting out. So called up Robert. He gave me his contact information, and I went up to APCW and took my first bump and hit the ropes for the first time, and I never looked back, and here I am.
Wow.
So that's how that happened.
That's where I met Trevor. I met Trevor at APCW and talked to him probably longer than anybody else I talked to there. And then I interviewed him later on for the podcast. Such a fascinating guy.
Yeah, he really is.
Really cool.
He's fascinating. He's a good person. He's really passionate as well. So
exactly, he comes off like a little kind of scary acting, but just one of the nicest people. Just absolutely a genuine nice person.
Yeah, genuinely, he's a perfect example of don't judge the book by its cover, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Now, I saw some photographs that you had taken, and I recognized a little bit of the APCW school there in the background. But these photographs are incredible. You're so photogenic. How did you?
Oh, thank you.
Who's the photographer that does this stuff?
Her name is, I'm so excited you're asking about this because I love her. Her name is Tammy Acosta, and she runs a company called Volatile Beauty Photography, and I've known her for a while. She has taken photos of all my friends, and I just kind of knew that when I finally was going to debut, and I would have like my promotional photos and everything out there, I just wanted to all or nothing, and I wanted to be as professional as possible right off the go. So I just knew I wanted her. That's her style. Like, I gave her my ideas of what I wanted, and she doesn't even really take photography. She does everything, and she's amazing at everything, but that's not her main focus. So just her being able to take her style and then come take photos of me in the ring at APCW and then make them look how they look. She's just amazing. So definitely anybody that's listening, whether you want, wrestling photos or just photos of yourself because you want to feel pretty, like she's it. She's great. So
I was really astonished that she did such a good job with wrestling pictures.
Yeah,
and then some of the
amazing.
other pictures, it's like there's nobody that has promotional images like you that I've seen.
Well, thank you. And it's definitely it's all her. Like, I'll come to her. I've worked with her as well in other scenarios, and I consider her a friend, and I'll just message her, or I'll text her, and I'm like, oh, I have this idea, and then she'll just take her crazy, amazing avant-garde twist and put it on it, and boom, I have these amazing photos. So she's
wow,
amazing.
How did you get the inspiration for I was going to ask you about the one with the candle sconces and the crown looking thing. That was. I'm
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I'm just when I see something that cool, it's like, damn, somebody is really working hard at this stuff.
That was that photo shoot was all Tammy. That was just something that she kind of came up with, and it's also something, not to spoil anything, but something, even though I took those photos like almost at the beginning of 2017, they've kind of been inspiring some new stuff that I'm going to be doing. So it's kind of, even though they were taken a while ago, they are definitely inspiring, a new direction I'm going to be taking. So that's, how that came about. So
they are gimmick tied in.
Yeah, in a way. I don't want to. Eventually, everybody.
I can't. Don't spoil it. But it's just it's neat to see that you've got this whole thing planned. You've got a long-term plan how you want this gimmick to work out.
I do, and cool. It's either going to go really great or really horribly. So we'll find out. Something that I read when I was in Hall of Fame.
You went to the Hall of Fame?
Inducted. Yeah. When Robert and Ricky got inducted, I was there, and
wow.
Yeah, it was really cool because what they actually, how long the ceremony actually is a lot longer than, obviously they have to, edit and cut things down for something that long on TV, and so a lot of the speeches are a lot longer than what you see. So I mean. Diamond Dallas Page and Beth Phoenix, like their speeches were super hit close to home with me personally, and something that I keep remembering, Kurt Angle said, he said sometimes you just have to take a really big risk with your character, and and then it ends up being bigger than you thought it could be. So I'm trying to keep that in mind with his new character. So we'll see what happens.
Well, you've got a good solid gimmick. It's believable. You've got a presence in the ring. You've got a that submission finishing hold you used to win the title.
Yes.
It's a chin lock. I've seen it use it before, but what exactly? How do you describe it? Yeah,
it's kind of call it the Harlock.
Uh-huh.
And it was just like an evolution. It was just like multiple trainings in a row. Me just trying to come up with something sort of unique, which is kind of really hard in wrestling.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you how many crazy things I did, like weird submission poses I was trying. Everyone would be like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I'm trying to figure something out." And one day, I just did it, and I looked over because I was, you know, Sean Sims. I'm sure you've met him at APCW.
Briefly.
Yeah, it was actually him, and I was like, "Hey, Sean, let me try to kill you really fast." And he was like, okay. So I just hit this submission, and I look over, and Robert's face is just like, whoa. And I was like, hold on, that's a good look. So I like hopped up, and I was like, what do you think? And he was like, I've never seen that before. I'm like, okay, Robert Gibson has never seen this before. That means that hasn't been done.
Yeah, that's a pretty big deal. I mean, he's been everywhere.
Exactly. So it's basically right now how I'm set. You know, it's just like a cannonball into, you know, the back, and then I roll up and I like lock the ankles and do kind of like a combination like chin lock, SPF type of thing around the neck. So it's kind of a bit of a choke, but kind of a chin lock at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just my positioning. That's how I describe it. People ask me all the time, and I'm like, I don't know. It's just really painful, and it'll make you tap. That's all I know.
Now, to getting their ankles like that, does that prevent them from getting leverage to get to the ring ropes?
Yeah, to crawl to the ropes. Yeah.
Because I noticed you were wrestling. Was it named Roxy? And she wasn't able to move. She couldn't get to the rope. She was stuck there, even though she was relatively close to the ropes.
Yeah.
She couldn't get to
because that way the only thing that, you know, the opponent that's free with the opponent is their hands, and if they have enough strength to pull, because also I'm on top of them.
Yeah.
So they would just have to be really strong to pull with just their arms, their own body weight, and me to get to the ropes. So that's kind of, you know, and if someone can do it, the day that happens, I'm going to be like, you know what, you deserve to get to the rope. Congratulations.
I looked at it, and it's a tough one. It is really a tough one. And you don't. It's like you said. It's something. If Robert Gibson hadn't seen it, no one's seen it. And I didn't recognize it the first time I saw you do it at the live show. And then when I saw you do it again when I was watching that last match you won the belt at, wow, the solid hold. The solid hold.
Thank you. Thank you.
Your experiences at Anarchy. It's such a hot place right now. They're doing so many things with production, and they've really got that place fixed up where it is perfect for matches. Is that an environment
Rick
that you
did a
really
great
enjoy?
job.
Yes, Rick.
I love it there. They're very, very professional, which is super important to me.
Yeah.
Even just like the timing, how they time the matches, everything. You know, they are super. It's literally ran. I feel like it would be ran like if it was like even a larger company, you know, having to stay on time for TV. And I know that they're streaming through Powerbomb TV right now, which is really cool. So that way people can see it if they aren't there.
Yeah.
And I really enjoy it. And each time I walk into the venue, it looks nicer and nicer each time.
Yeah.
So they're doing a great job. I really enjoy it there for sure. It's a great environment. And they try very hard to keep the quality and the professionalism of who they choose for their roster up. So it's nice to walk into a locker room where everybody is professional.
Oh,
and,
I imagine.
You know, because sometimes that doesn't happen. And, but it's, you know, it is what it is. And it's just like everybody, this particular promotion and venue they're doing a good job, and it's so funny because it's literally in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, we went for the first time. It's just like, dude, we're just out driving. Wow, there it is.
Yeah, exactly. And and then all of a sudden you see this little building, and you're like, oh, that's cute. Okay.
But inside it's pure wrestling.
Yeah. And then you walk in, and you're like, oh, okay, this is dope. This is cool.
Yeah,
so,
I was really impressed.
Yeah, they're great.
You don't see many places where they leave the ring up all the time.
Yeah, just small little like venue arenas that
Yeah.
are just for wrestling. There's, I only know of two. I'm sure there are plenty, but from my experience, the only two that I know of right now is the Landmark Arena where Anarchy and NCW, and then also Pro South in Alabama. So I'm sure there are plenty. I know there are, but the only ones that I have been to actually, and then there's in MCW up in Tennessee. I went there once, and they have just like a little building where they keep it up all the time. So it's just kind of like their own little like arena, kind of, where they just keep everything up, and it's all like built around wrestling. So that's really cool.
That's really cool. Now, you said in Alabama, that promotion, where do they wrestle out of?
Piedmont. I have actually not wrestled on their show before. I was a guest referee once. But
a guest referee? Cool.
Yeah, Harlow the ref. And keeping everybody in check.
Yeah. That's a really neat opportunity.
Yeah, no, it was cool, and they're good people. They run it there, so, and they have like a weekly show on Friday that really gives a lot of like, same like NCW, just a lot of newer guys, a lot of like the chance to wrestle every single week. So that's really cool.
Now, I grew up right around right south of Birmingham in Alabama, and you've been over in that area too, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm a regular right now at New South and Hartselle, which is like north, I think, of Birmingham. I don't know exactly where. I just follow Siri on the iPhone, and she tells me where to go.
Exact same way.
Yeah. So, but it's in Hartselle, and I've been mostly in Alabama, up in that area, wrestling, and then Georgia, obviously. Those are like right now my main two places.
But the cool thing you've done is you just got back from Ireland.
I did just get back from Ireland, and it was
How
amazing.
Did that come about?
So it all started at a seminar with Bob Evans, Brutal Bob, and I just mentioned to him that I actually used to live in Ireland, and I just mentioned to him that I was trying to get back there and go, visit some friends, and I was trying, hopefully sometime this year. This was the beginning of 2017, and he is good friends with Phil Boyd, who runs Fight Factory. So he was just like, well, let me get in contact with Phil. And he got me in contact with Phil, and it just kind of evolved from there. And I actually did not end up wrestling at Fight Factory because they were not having they just scheduling conflicts. But I ended up getting, through Phil, getting in touch with Pro Wrestling Ulster, which is in Belfast.
Yes.
And then I actually have a friend who a friend that lives there, and he is very much a huge wrestling fan. And I messaged him and told him, hey, I'm going to be wrestling. And then he gave me the crazy idea to get in touch with Over the Top, OTT, because OTT happened to be having a show while I was there. So I was like, okay, you know what, might as well, you never know. And got in contact with them, and once again, Phil with Fight Factory helped out, and I ended up getting bookings at OTT as well. So that was really cool experience, and I'm incredibly grateful for that, for sure.
Well, some of the images I saw, that outside show y'all did with a huge crowd.
Oh yeah, that was like 5,000 people.
Insane.
It was definitely the largest crowd I've ever wrestled in front of. That was in Belfast for PWU. I've wrestled Lauren LaRue. I think that match is probably one of my best matches. And I am shocked because when I saw how many people were there, I was like, I can't do this. This is crazy. What am I doing? And it's actually was the biggest rush, and it's definitely the coolest experience I think I've ever had wrestling yet, was wrestling like in a different country, and also it was the biggest crowd I've ever wrestled in front of. So it was my first in one go, and I just kind of jumped in and I did it, and it was amazing and worth it, and a learning experience and something I will remember forever. So it's great. Yeah.
5,000 people. That's not an indie show crowd.
Yeah, it's
That's a
crazy.
WWE crowd.
Yeah, Ireland loves their wrestling. That's for sure. It is a small country, but they show up and show out. That's for sure.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and
Now,
there was also their culture night, Belfast culture night. So there was
uh
just tons of people in general in the city.
yeah.
Like there was about 100,000 people in Belfast that night. So it was just a very intense crowd. And that's how it ended up being that many people, just because the amount of people just in general in the city that evening.
Uh-huh. Now, you lived in Ireland?
I did. I lived in Dublin. Yes.
Oh wow. Did you grow up there, or did you grow up here? And
No, I grew up in Atlanta. I'm an Atlanta girl. I lived in my early 20s, very early 20s. I lived there for a little while for sure, and moved home. But I was there, and it was the first experience of me living not in America and not in Georgia. And I learned a lot. I consider it definitely one of my homes for sure.
Gotcha. Now, that experience of getting out on your own and doing like that's probably helped you in wrestling, then, right?
Yeah, I'm kind of not scared of anything at this point. I'm kind of one of those big, like, go big or go home type of people. I've just had, a lot of intense things happen in my personal life and a lot of life experience at a young age. So I'm like, you know what, if you're going to do something, like, you either do it or you don't. You go in and you do it and you go hard, or you don't do it. And that was kind of like my mentality going into wrestling. I was like, you know what, I want to do this. And a lot of girls start wrestling at a lot younger age. I mean, I look at some of these amazing talents that are out right now, like Toni Storm and like Kiera Hogan and Priscilla Kelly and all these people. And you hear that they're 22 or like 18 or, and you're just like,
Yeah.
what? And I started wrestling when I was 26. And that's another reason why, like, I relate with Diamond Dallas Page so much, because he just, he was obviously older than that, but like, I can do this. But that was my mentality going into it. I'm like, well, I'm already, this many years behind. So, go in and do it or don't.
Yeah.
So that's my life experience, I think, helps out a lot with that. Because it's like you're either going to do this and not
definitely.
be scared and just do it, or you're going to, kind of teeter-totter, and I was not going to do that. I was not going to be on like a seesaw with this. So.
Gotcha. That's a really got to be a great attitude to have to be able to make you successful in this business, though.
Yeah, for sure.
Now,
it's part of it, for sure.
You're used to traveling then, if you lived in Ireland. You've been you've been overseas. What would you tell someone who's never traveled outside of the United States for wrestling? What kind of advice would you give them?
Just don't be afraid to do it and reach out. Like, sometimes you have to reach out. You can't wait for things. You have to make things happen for yourself. And just do it. And that you'll gain so much from it. Whether that's, even if it takes you a year of just sending out emails and reaching out to people to get one booking overseas, it'll be worth it. And just go in with an open mind. And it's okay to be nervous, because I was, and I definitely left a better wrestler and more experienced in more than just my professional life. I was more experienced in my personal life as well when I left.
Gotcha.
So,
now,
yeah.
How are the promoters over there? Is it similar to here, or is it different?
It's Ireland, so they are so. Irish people are very like, oh, sure, it's grand. Like, don't worry, everything's good. And that's just exactly like, that was my experience, like, living there. And that's how their promoters are. I mean, they're very professional, but they're very, like, oh, it's good, everything's fine. They obviously want their shows to be ran just as professionally and crisp as any other promotion all over the world. And safety. Like Joe at OCT, he's very much like, I remember he like talked to all of us. He's like, I don't want anybody going to the hospital. Like, stay safe tonight. And So they're very protective and very professional. They treat all of the talent very well, very well. They're really supportive. I mean, I feel like a lot of promoters are, but I just felt like very loved and supported there. It was great. So
well, that's cool that they make a talent from overseas feel that comfortable in the promotion.
Yeah, and I wasn't the only one at the OTT show. I was their contender show, and there was myself and Scarlett and Gray's tag team, and Shane Strickland also were all there. So it was their first contender show with international people on there, because they have two levels. They have contenders, and then they have their like main card.
Yeah.
So their main card is they're used to having all of these international people, but it was their contender show, which is kind of like their NXT per se, like your entry into the company. And they had all of us from the U.S. there, and that was a really cool experience. And I know that they took really good care of all of us, for sure.
Are there any licenses that you need to wrestle overseas like that?
In Ireland, not that I know of, no. I'm not sure about other countries, but Ireland and the UK now.
Cool. So you got a wonderful trip over there to a place you knew were familiar with, and you got to wrestle with good people. That's, there's a lot of people that don't have opportunities like that, and they don't get to see the world. And right now, I think if you're going to go farther in the business, you've got to get out there and get that opportunity, because they're going to expect you to travel if you're on the main show.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's why you can't be. That's what it goes back. You just can't be afraid. And you can't wait around like, oh, well, one day I'll be wrestling overseas. Like, it's just one of those things. You just kind of like kick it into gear and do it. And stay consistent with it. If you don't get a response back, or it's a no at first, sometimes it takes like 10 million no's to get a yes. But one day you'll get the yes. But it's not just going to fall. Like, life doesn't work that way. It doesn't just fall. Like, as soon as the first time you ask, or as soon as the first idea that you have pops in your head, it's not just going to be, oh yeah, it's a yes. That's great. Like, sometimes you just have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing, and
just make it happen.
Make it happen. And if you want to travel, and if you want to have that on your resume for this job, sometimes that's what it takes.
So you're building a great resume here. Where do you want to go?
Getting up there. I wanted to go as far as I can. I've been training with Robert since May 2016, and like I said, he's tough. He wasn't going to let me train for like 12 weeks or like a few months and then let me have a match like live in front of people. That's just not how he operates, because he doesn't want me or anyone else to get hurt. So I was there for months, training multiple times a week. I mean, I can tell, like I said, he's like my dad. The amount of tears and like everything, like just like, Robert, let me debut, please. He's like, no, you're not ready. And I'm like, what? So it was months, and then finally in February of this year I debuted. So I've been working for going on 8 months now. So I'm really proud of everything. I have my down moments. I think everybody in this industry does, where you're like, oh, where's this going to go next? Or what can I do to make this move faster or better? And my best friend and some of my close friends in wrestling hear me talk about this all the time. I'm sure they're sick of it, but because sometimes you just got to take your own advice, and it's, be patient. And so that's what I have been. But I found in my patience, good things have happened if I just kind of like let it happen, which was, obviously my 7 months into wrestling, I got to debut at 2 top companies in Ireland, and I had an amazing experience. And then 8 months in, I had, won my first title at Anarchy. So I feel like I'm on the right track. And sometimes I want things to happen faster for me, but I got to remember that, trust the process and the timing of your life. So, but I just want, I want it to go as far as I can go. Over the next few years, I'd love to continue traveling and debut in different countries, not just Ireland. I would love to go back to Ireland hopefully next year. continuing debuting in other countries. I'd love to make it to like an all-female locker room, whether it be like Shine or Shimmer. I'd love to make it to a bigger stage at some point.
Yeah.
I think all wrestlers do. I think when you're in the wrestling industry, like making it to WWE or, somewhere like Stardom in Japan for me, or TNA, Impact, any of that, like making it to a bigger stage and a bigger audience.
There are so many good women's
cards.
programs now. It's just, it's amazing.
It's amazing. Yeah, it really is. Like, even just if you think about 12 months ago versus now, like how much women are being spotlighted and all the opportunities that are being presented for the people that are working hard enough for them.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. So that's what I plan on doing, even in my doubts sometimes. I just plan on working as hard as I can, and I'd love to make it I want to be a part of this like women's like revolution and evolution in some way, even if I'm not, I'm not the pioneer by any means. But if I can just be a part of that and that's on my resume, that's all I care about. Like I encourage someone else who hasn't wrestled yet to become a wrestler that's a female, or even a male for that point. Like I would love for a guy to come up to me and be like, "You're why I'm wrestling," and that would be really cool to me.
Oh, I can imagine.
And being a part of something, or even if I just like encourage fellow workers, fellow female wrestlers, if they are in a match with me or see a match that I do, and I encourage them to up their game or to try something new, that would be enough for me, and obviously just being able to do this for a living and for it to be my life in and out, day in and day out, that's my ultimate goal. But obviously every wrestler has that crazy dream of making it to a bigger stage. So if something like that were to happen, that would just be like the cherry on top of the cake.
Oh, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I kept seeing everybody giving wrestlers advice on Facebook and Twitter. Go to seminars, go to seminars, go to seminars. So last night I did a seminar, a commentary seminar, because God knows I'm not a wrestler and I don't have it. I don't have any desire to get in there and get hit, but I like to talk about it. I like to watch it. So I did a commentary seminar with Kevin Harvey, who runs the RISE program, the developmental for Shimmer.
Oh, yeah.
And he is a super nice guy. If you ever get a chance to do anything with him and his product, I can recommend it. I know several women that have done that.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely a goal. Like, for sure. On my list of 2018 things, I am 100%. At some point in 2018, I'm going to commit to a RISE or or a Shimmer seminar for sure. Because any person that I know that has been involved with that company or that brand or that product has nothing but amazing things to say about it. So that is for sure. It's really good to hear you say that, because I think that's definitely in my cards. So that's awesome that you enjoyed a seminar with him. He seems like a really nice guy.
He's a really nice guy, but he's also a consummate professional. Because he doesn't just do what he's doing, he knows why he's doing it and can tell you, this is why I'm doing this and this is why I'm saying that. Like, his understanding of the whole process is much higher than mine, because I don't even know why I'm doing stuff half the time.
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I mean, I've been in my job for 20 years, and I still don't always know why I'm doing things. I know that's how I do things, but I don't know why. And he has such a great understanding of the whole process.
Yeah.
But when you were a little girl, did you watch wrestling?
No, I didn't.
You weren't a wrestling
fan? I did not. Yeah, I was not. I remember my family is not a wrestling family. I feel like a lot of people find wrestling because, their mom and dad were really into it and it was just always on TV. That's not the case for me. I remember, I think every little kid had one of those like little tiny TVs in the room.
Yeah.
They were like 10 inches, like screen, you know what I mean? And I had one of those, and I do distinctly remember, this is true, I used to flip through channels just like trying to find, after I'm done homework, something to watch. And I distinctly remember always pausing on whatever wrestling product was like on that night, whether it was like, Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. I just remember I distinctly being a little girl, like going to like trying to find like, oh, Ren and Stimpy or something on TV and like pausing and just like looking and like, oh my God, is this real? Are these people? Oh my God, he just got slammed through the table. Oh my God, like watching that. And I remember distinctly seeing China and being like, she looks like Superwoman. Oh my God, she just picked up a guy. What is she doing? Like, I remember having those thoughts and being mesmerized by it, but it was never like a consistent thing. I mean, I would sit down and watch it sometimes when I was younger, but it wasn't like I didn't really know who everybody was. I just would be mesmerized by it and like stop to watch it. It wasn't really until my like recent adult years, when I moved home from Ireland, that I found wrestling. Because I was kind of going through
that.
Yeah, and I was kind of going through a healing process with, scenarios and situations in my life, and there was a point in time when I was not leaving the house, and I would just watch whatever was on TV, and I'd like cuddle my dog, and that's like all I would do. And I started watching Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and I started getting really into it. And then I remember going to like my first WWE event, which was only a few years ago, sadly, and it was I wish it would have started sooner, but it was SmackDown. And shortly after I went to my first, WWE event, that's when I kind of discovered indie wrestling, and I went to go see a friend, and that's when it just clicked. I just remember watching the women's match at this indie show, and I just was like, I want to do this. I can do this. Like, I know I can do this. Like, I just need to be trained. I just need to know. I just need to learn. I need to learn how to do this. I need to absorb. I need to absorb the business. I need to absorb everything that's going on. But if I can do it, I can do what these girls are doing. And that's just how it started.
So it's been a good healing experience for you.
Oh, yeah. Of my life, I know this sounds like really silly and people say this all the time, but I definitely think other than my like adorable little French bulldog, his name's Doodoo. Other than him, I definitely owe my life to like wrestling. Like in the past few years, like if I didn't find this like healing through it and like self-love through it, I don't know where my life is right now. So I think that's why another reason, like once again, it goes back to like my life experience, like why I have gone so hard into this.
Yeah.
Like from the moment I started.
Now, I had a very similar conversation with Jesse from Southern Underground Pro in Nashville. And we talked about how there were times where through our depression, wrestling was the only constant we had. Where it was something you could lean back on and something you could actually talk to people about, even though you were kind of wrapped up in your own thing. And it was something to keep you going and keep you thinking, or a positive in a life in a time where things might be a little bit darker. And I think there's a lot more people out there than you realize that have had similar experiences to that.
Oh, I mean, I know I'm a very big advocate for like mental health, like being very healthy. Like, it's not just your physical, it's what's going on inside your mind is very important.
Yep.
And I know there is not, I feel like more wrestlers than none probably have that going on. Like if it wasn't for this industry and this business and being inside the ring for those 10-minute time limits, like you wouldn't be able to function. And I know that. So I'm just open about it. I decided when I started doing this, I was like, I'm going to be very transparent about myself, whether I have 5 fans, 500 fans, 5,000 fans, 5 million fans. I don't care. I'm not going to portray this perfect little WWE diva or something. Like I'm not. I have issues and I'm working through them, and it's okay to work through things and to find positivity in the things you love.
Yes.
And that's totally okay.
I never hesitate to tell people I'm in therapy. I've been in therapy for a long time. It is one of the things that helps me not lash out at other people is to try to get my feelings expressed somewhere where it's safe. and I can get this thing, try to get this thing manageable, because depression is a very dangerous illness. And I don't think enough people understand. There's still stigma, which I cannot believe in 2017. People don't understand that mental illness is no different than diabetes, or depression is the same as high blood pressure. It's just a weird concept.
Yeah, it's definitely weird. Like it's people think it's a weird concept, but it's not. And I just I think it's getting like more normalized now, and I think like people are being more open about it, and that's why when people like ask me about wrestling, like I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna say, oh yeah, I loved it when I was like 5 and I grew up watching it. I didn't, but I can tell you right now, just because I didn't watch it when I was 5 and I didn't grow up with it doesn't mean I'm any less passionate about it than any person that did, because it has literally been my life since I discovered it.
And you've got a lot to catch up on. I mean, you've got access to all this great material now that you can watch, and it's all new to you.
Exactly. That's another. It's a great age to, because like the WWE Network has. You just go back in time with that, and there's so many other things that And then I also just like to who I chose to be my trainer, like just him in general, like being able to talk to him and learn something new, and him be able to like pull stuff out of a hat and tell you about something that happened 30 years ago, and you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he did that to us when we were at the school. Just we didn't do a show or anything. We just Damien invited us to come up and just kind of tour the show, the school, and we were going to do some stuff with some of the guys, and we've interviewed some of the guys from there. But Robert we were just standing there, and he walks over to us and he says something, and it's like, okay. And then he takes us over and he points to some pictures, and it's this and this, and then it's like, and you don't get that much. I don't get captivated like that very often. I don't get to the point where I'm so entranced with what somebody is saying the way I was with him. It was insane.
Yeah, he's just crazy, like, book of knowledge, and it's anybody that doesn't you don't have to like him, but you have to respect him, because that man's got he's got this entire industry, like, he knows what he's doing, and he's been there for most of it.
Oh yeah.
So
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't respect him. Everybody. Sure. You run in the wrestling business where people will bad talk folks, and you don't hear a lot of bad talk or any bad talk about him. People love that guy.
Yeah, he just has the best interest of this. Like, he just wants to protect the industry, and he wants. I'll never forget a conversation. I was at training, and he like kept telling me, "Oh yeah, you'll probably debut this month. You'll probably do." And then I was sitting there watching him write out the card, and he like didn't put me on it, and I just like, I can't believe I'm telling this story, but like I said, I'm transparent, like nothing. You can't be. And I just remember my eyes like rolling up, and I was just like, Robert, you said it was time. And he was like, well, I changed my mind. And I'm like, what? And I'll just like never forget. I was just sitting on the apron of the ring, and I just was like just so upset because I was just so ready. And he just was like, no one wants to see you succeed as much as I do, so just trust me. I want to see you succeed. You're going to succeed, and you're going to do this the right way, and you're going to be a safe worker, and you're going to succeed, but you're not going to do it until I tell you that you're ready, because I'll know when you're ready. And I just was like, okay. And I'll never forget that conversation, because like emotions were high, and I was just like, rah, but I'm so grateful for him, and I'm so grateful for him and what he, like, his timing for me, and it's awesome. And people need, if you don't trust him, you should trust him more. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's great that you've been able to find a mentor like him, and also he apparently knows what he's doing, because you've been so successful since your debut.
Yeah, and it has a lot to, a lot of it has to do with him and what he's doing in his training, and then a lot of it has to do with just like my mentality. I think going into this, like I was like, I'm not going to half-ass this. I'm going to have professional gear immediately. I'm going to have professional promo shots immediately. I'm going to have professional social media immediately. And like to any like new male or female coming up, like, and I'm like still very new. I'm so new, so I don't even know why it's like weird giving people advice. Like I'm not even.
Well, that's one of those things you would not know you were that new unless you're the person telling someone.
Yeah, and that's, well, thank you, but that's all I have to say is like invest in yourself. I know it's hard, especially because you have to. But the thing is, you have to spend money to make money, and you have to like invest in yourself. And so if that means working extra hours at work to save that extra money to get some nice gear and like legit promo shots, do it, because it's helped me. And I was like, fake it till you make it. So until one day I am on TV. People are not gonna know. They're gonna be like, oh, is she on TV? Is she on? What does she do? Why does she look so good? Why is her moveset so? Why is she so crisp? And not that I'm super crisp. I'm still working on stuff, but like that's the mentality that you have to have. Like I learn and I grow literally every single day that I'm in the ring, whether I'm training or working. So I am by no means perfect, but you just have to have that mentality. If people aren't gonna know unless I tell them.
I totally get what you're saying. A lot of our success in the podcast business is due to the fact we never told anybody how big we were. We just let people assume. We didn't tell people we were big, but we didn't tell them we were small either. And we did our best, and we always put our best foot forward. We always had professional stuff, and we always had a website, and we had T-shirts and like a unified presence. And folks just assumed we were bigger than we were, and now we're as big as they assumed we were. Because we just
exactly it right
tried to be as professional as possible.
Exactly.
And it's wrestling's a great business. And it's the strangest business I've ever dealt in.
Yeah, I can agree with that one.
See, me being in retail and Nick being in retail forever, wrestling is like dealing with artists.
For sure.
And that don't always jive with retail. So we had to figure out how to go from being retail management to sort of being talent management.
Exactly.
And it's a different world.
It is a different world, sure. Before wrestling, I've been doing hair since I was like 17. And I think that had an advantage with how I deal with wrestlers because, hairstylists and makeup artists are artists. And they're very emotionally invested in their work, the same way wrestlers are. So I think that was an advantage I had because I'm like, okay, if I need to talk to this person the same way I would have talked to somebody at the salon. Yeah. Because people have their own perspective and their own way of, especially like in an industry like wrestling, there isn't a formula. It's not like mathematics. It's not like 2 + 2 is 4. It's everybody has their own way of doing things. So what I'm saying is not by any means like the blueprint at all. What Robert even says isn't the blueprint. Like there are so many right ways to do this. This is just what I'm saying to you. It's just been my experience, you know? Yeah.
So. Well, it's working for you. I can tell you that much.
Thank you.
I see your picture on cards all over the place. Okay.
Thank you.
I see the pictures with you with the belt on Facebook and Twitter. It's that presence that you're able to put over when you've got the belt or you've got those great pictures, or when somebody puts a picture of you on their card, it's not just you standing there with your arms raised up like you're going to punch somebody. It's a professionally shot photo they're working with, and it looks better.
Thank you. I definitely, that's what I was going for sure. So.
Yeah, well, people don't understand how important that is, that when they put that poster together, it needs to be an accurate representation of who's going to be on the card, what time the show is, where the show is going to be at, how much it's going to cost to get in. Yeah. But you also need a grip. You need to grab somebody. And that is those professional pictures grab people.
I agree. I definitely appreciate that.
Yeah. It's a visually, when you have a visually stimulating like trap or draw, you can get people to come to a show, and they don't even know why they want to come to a show. They see something.
They're just like, oh, that was cool. Look at that.
Yep. It's marketing. It's all marketing.
Yeah. That's to get people to the doors. I definitely agree that, and then to get the people to stay is the product that you put out while they're there, for sure.
Well, I mean, if when you're with Anarchy right now, they're putting out a consistent product that seems to be getting over huge. You're going to be there this Saturday.
Yes, I am.
What does your schedule look like coming on in the next few months?
It's busy. I have Anarchy coming up. I have I'm wrestling at New Orleans Bike Week, which will be the first time I've ever done anything like that. It'll be probably another outside situation like when I was in Belfast. So I'm kind of excited for that to see what it'll be like. And then I have my home at New South, and I have my home at APCW and Anarchy, and literally the rest of my few months is looking like that. And then I have a few things that I can't really announce yet, but you guys will see it on social media. And I'm really excited about these things that are coming up.
Where do we see you on social media? Where do we find you?
I am everywhere on social media. I am on Twitter, and my handle at Twitter is hvrlow_. I'm on Instagram, and it's just hvrlow. And then I have my YouTube and Facebook, and just search Harlow O'Hara, and it'll all pop up on there.
That's great. That's great, because that's so important to be available where people can follow you and know where you're going to be.
Yeah, and it's once again, transparency and keeping it real on the internet, I think, is in a respectful way. Like, you know,
definitely.
I don't do the whole Twitter wars with anybody, and I don't.
Nobody wins. Nobody wins the Twitter war.
No, no one wins the Twitter war.
It's like fighting with customers at work.
You know, it's exactly.
Yeah, if you win the fight, you still don't get their money. So
exactly. So so that this is where you can find me on the internet. I try to stay pretty active on there and consistent. I try to always make sure I post my posters, and if I am available to post, like if the matches are not on like a pay-per-view or on demand, I try to post the ones that I'm allowed to, film and post myself. And then if I can't film it, I always let you know, like my OTT match in Dublin, they have OTT on demand. So definitely look into that and subscribe to that, because you get the entire catalog of like past and present.
Wow.
Same thing with, and I think it's only like $8 a month. So if you know anything about Over the Top, the amount of talent and the product that they put out there is just, it's amazing. It's incredible. It's the shows, even just I can't even put into words. So $8 a month is really, really reasonable for that. Definitely. And same thing for Powerbomb TV. I'm not sure how much Powerbomb TV is, but I know the Anarchy streams, and Powerbomb streams like a lot of indie. Like, it's not just Anarchy. It's I think like 100 or more, maybe, like indie promotions are through Powerbomb. Yeah, I might be making that up also. So don't.
Oh, you sold me on it.
Don't quote me. I might have made that up, but there's a lot. It's not just Anarchy. There's I was on their website the other day, and there was like a huge list. So there's at least a lot. If I don't have an exact number, and I think it's like maybe like $10 a month. I think so. Yeah, look into stuff like that. And I know there's high spots, streams, things like Lucha Lucha Atlanta and stuff like that. So
that's a show I really want to go to.
Go to it. You should definitely go. Their next show is on December 17th in Norcross.
I hope I can. My work schedule is so crazy. I can't get off a lot on the weekends, or I can't get off unless I have months notice in advance. But I'll write that December 17th down and see what I can do. Yeah, it's a
Sunday. They do all their shows on Sunday. So
they draw massive crowds, don't they?
Oh, thousands. Yeah, it's Ricardo, the booker for that show, is once again one of those people that's extremely professional, and he takes care of his talent. And he and I've never even worked for them, but this is just from my experience of speaking with him and just being at the shows. Like the shows, he takes it seriously, and he should, because his shows and the product that he's producing is amazing. I mean, you just walk in.
Yeah.
because like just even the lighting, the ramp, the ring, everything. So that's a good one to definitely check out, and it's awesome because it's local. It's I want to talk about it even if I'm not on that show, because it's awesome when you have a local promotion that's really doing it right. And they are.
Yeah, I'm in Sugar Hill, so that's no distance at all for me.
Yeah, it's like a hop, skip, and a jump away.
Yeah, that's probably like the closest promotion around.
Yeah.
Because we usually drive at least 45 minutes to most shows. 45 minutes to an hour.
Not more. Yeah.
Harlow, thank you so much for coming on. It's been a lovely conversation.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Great.
I was really long-winded with some things I was talking about. So, but thank you.
Well, that's the best shows. I mean, it's not like people want to hear me talk. We do a recap news show every week. They can listen to me there. They want to listen to you. And you did a wonderful job.
Thank you. I appreciate the platform and being able to talk about like my experiences overseas and my training. I think it'll help people. My life. Oh yeah, and it's like I said. Sometimes I feel like I share too much. It's my best friend Eden. She's been like my rock in this, and she I just want to say hey to her. But she doesn't even like wrestling. Like, she does not get it. She does not understand it. It is not her thing. She is from Santa Cruz, California. She is a hippie. Like, she's just like, what? But she is also my ride or die. Like, she flew to Ireland to watch my international debut.
Wow.
And she will go to the middle of nowhere and sit at my birth table while she's being harassed by people because she has blue hair and tattoos. But I tell her everything. And one thing I told her, I was like, sometimes I feel like I share too much. And she goes, she's like, well, if you make it as far as you want to make it in this, people are going to find out anyways. Yeah. It's on the internet. Everything's on the internet. So
yeah, she's got a point.
So she's like, be open and talk about what you feel and the things that you've experienced to get to where you are, because it'll help somebody. So she's definitely a main reason why I'm so open, because of her encouragement. So thank you for letting me have that platform with you today.
Awesome. Yeah, we didn't even get to talk about tattoos yet. We'll do that another time.
That's the next show, Harlow O'Hara Part 2.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. We'll let you know when the show's going to come on. Anytime you need something, you just let us know. Okay. This has been wonderful. Okay. You have a great day. Thank you.
You too. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening, folks. You're the ones that make this all worth doing. Go over to tappedoutwrestlingpodcast.com and find all of our shows. There's a player with links to every single show we've ever done. There are our affiliate links for Amazon, the Fight app, and Blue Apron. Purchase some stuff through there and help the guys out. You can find our social media there. You can find links to wherever our podcast is found. Get on in there and subscribe. Go to Pro Wrestling Tees if you'd like to purchase some of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast wonderful t-shirts. Pro Wrestling Tees is a great company. Look for us at upcoming live shows and come by and say hi. We love our fans and we love what we're doing. Thank you.